Whoa, am I live? Am I live? Wow. So yeah, hi, how are you? Um it's been a while since I've been on a live stream. Believe it or not, I can't believe it, to be honest. We'll see if anybody pops up that I know. You don't really get too many live streams. Uh I don't know, maybe I should cover up the repair work I need to do to my ceiling. So basically, this is 3 points about ancient history, but the fact is that this is the first time I've gone live for like 6 months. I know I did some live streams off my phone, but this is off of a PC, and I will be repairing that roof. I'm just kind of testing things out. So number one, I have it written down right here. It's a couple of these things. I can't share my desktop, or I would show you. I kind of want to show you, but I don't know how to do it, and I don't want to worry about that right now. So, a couple things. Okay, how is there a way to do it? Let me just double check things. Edit, edit, edit. Okay, customization. Yeah, I don't see a way to share my desktop. Monetization. That's always nice. I'm monetized. Thank you for your view. But yeah, there's nothing really as far as sharing my desktop. Let's see about this one. Okay, so I wish I could, because I have a presentation that I've been kind of putting together for this. But the thing is that okay, let's just get to the point. The Poseidon was a third tier god. You know what I'll do, because I can't show you, but I'm going to open it up. Let's see if I can open it up. And I can't share the desktop, but I can talk about Greek gods, and that'll be better. It'll be a little more interesting since I don't have any audience or viewers. So we'll see. So according to the Greek gods that I understand, Poseidon was portrayed completely differently from the bottom inside his introduction to Atlantis. We all know. Now, one thing that I want to mention first is that when I Wikipedia'd Poseidon, one of the things I first saw was that he was, okay, maybe I should just read it aloud. It's around here somewhere. He is distinguished from where is he? Okay, I lost the name of this other guy here, this other god. Okay, I should have just kept it there in the beginning. There. He is distinguished from Pontus. Okay, now who is Pontus? Pontus is the primordial god. Now, there's Olympians, which is the next step, and Poseidon. I'm sorry, that's the third tier is the Olympians. Let me just go from the beginning. I'm looking right at it. The primordial deities were the kind of the grandfathers, the grandparents, and then the Titans are the parents of the Olympians, who, of course, there's more layers than that. But Poseidon is an Olympian. So he's distinguished from, according to Wikipedia, distinguished from Pontus, who's also a god of the sea. However, if you go back into this this description, Pontus is the god of sea and fish. This is Greek translation. Nesoi, the Nesoi, is the god of islands and sea. Now, that's my first point. Let's see if we have any visitors. Nobody. Hello. So the islands and sea god, who is a primordial god and kind of more raw, like you've got chaos, which is nothingness, and then Gaia, Mother Earth, and Tartarus is underworld, and then night, Nyx is night, and then chaos and Nyx got together and hooked up, and they created light, and chaos and Eros hooked up and created Yeah, actually, it's not very clear, but it seems like Mother Earth and R.O.C, which wasn't originally a primordial god, apparently. R.O.C was kind of like thrown in later. Apparently, they created Uranus, or I'm not really sure. That it's not clear the way the timeline I'm looking at, or the family tree I'm looking at. I'm looking at this specific chart that you can't see for the translations to English. So in the primordial group, Tartarus, Gaia, Eros, Erebus, Nyx, Chronos, that means time. The Nisoi, that's islands and sea. Now, Pontus is sea and fish, so that encompasses what's within the sea. But the Nisoi encompasses a differentiation of the islands and the sea. Now, what I'm trying to get at here is this is the main point of this whole thing is that the word is not continents and sea. The word is islands and sea. So when Plato talked about Atlantis being an island, he may have been being very classical here and referring to it as not the ocean, but the land. Now, if you know me, the land that sunk in an island, okay, this better not be a YouTube notification. Angry. I want to turn off these YouTube notifications. Actually, I want to watch that. Manage notifications. Yes, turn them off, please. I don't like that. New phone. PayPal, yeah, I want to know when I get my money. Telegram, no. What else we got here? Phone, huh? Seems like that's been turned off. Oh, I can't turn that off. Okay. Messages, I could turn those off. I don't want to. Files, probably. I'm not inundated by file notifications, whatever that is. Okay, that was my main point. Okay, that there really is. If you look at the Greek gods, now how come I'm looking at this is because I was attracted to an ad that was put up over there at Atlantis Reddit Atlantis, and somebody put up not an ad but a post in it. It was said, "This is the history of all the gods," and I watched it. I'm like, wow. So really, when Plato even admitted that he's giving these names, these Greek names, to these not Egyptian gods, but Atlantis persons that the Egyptian story trickled down to the Greek. I mean, there's a lot of potential for problems with that, or lost in translation problems, and also the telephone game problems. So the islands and the sea. Plato wrote that the land was it was due to barriers of mud. It was no longer navigatable by sea. And so you're not talking about an island in the middle of the Atlantic. You're talking about a part of a continent. And if you've seen my diagram, my most recent diagram, I wish I could share right now, but I'm not going to try. That's number one. Wow, 8 minutes, and I only got through number one. Okay, number two. For those of you who are all about how Atlantis was in the United States, okay, I'm going to pull out my map so I can start. Actually, I should probably open up Critias because it's from what Plato said. And I'm not going to open up Critias right now. I'm going to go from my memory, so I might make a mistake. But where is maps? Maps. Oh, there they are. Yeah, by the way, I got a new computer. You may notice this is actually the first live stream I've done in months from anything but a device. And the thing that Plato wrote, and let's just talk about this. Now I'm looking at the Mediterranean Sea, and Greece is not in the middle, and Italy is also on the other side of the middle. So Italy and Greece are in the middle. But if you go down to Africa, you've got this big cutout, Tunisia and Tyrrhenia. The Tyrrhenian Sea is kind of on the west side of Italy, but it's right in the middle of the and when Plato was writing that according to the story, the story that he got from Solon, which came from Egypt, He said, "Oh, I'm going. The Atlanteans were in control as far east as the Tyrrhenian Sea." Now I'm looking at the Tyrrhenian Sea. They said he said Plato said Tyrrhenia, and that is on the island of Corse, I guess. From my understanding, if I'm wrong about that, it's down on Sardinia. So, right? Wait, what's this? This is Sardinia? No, this is Sicily. Right. Sardinia is over there. And then I guess the name of the island above it, Sardinia, which is Corse. One of those two islands was Tyrrhenia. It had the city of Tyrrhenia. Let's just find out. Let's just Google it. So, where was the city of Tyrrhenia? Okay, that didn't work. Let me type it. Tyrrheni. Okay, let's just do that. Tyrrhenia. Let's go for that. Uh-oh. Okay, Tyrrhenians. Where was the city of Tyrrhenia? Now I got some random stuff in there. Let me just hit that and then go to the map, answer, and I'll tell you. Etruria. All right. So Etruria, where is Etruria? It like navigated away. Usually referred to in Greek source texts as Tyrrhenia, ancient Greek, was a region of central Italy located in that area, part of what is now Tuscany, Lazio, and Umbria. Huh? What? Okay, so that's interesting. That's different. Let me just click on the Wikipedia and look. Yeah, so it's actually showing part of Italy as Tyrrhenia. I didn't know that. What is this? Uh-oh. To all our readers in the U.S., please don't scroll past this. This Tuesday, for the first time recently, we humbly ask you to defend Wikipedia's independence. 98% of our readers don't give. They simply look the other way. If you are an exceptional reader who has already donated, we sincerely thank you. If you donate $2.75 or whatever you can donate this Tuesday, Wikipedia is thriving for years. Okay, I'll think about that. It's $2.75 they want. I might go other 99 cents. No, let's see. Okay, because okay, this article is about a region of Italy, and I'm looking at the region, and it's not Corsica. Okay, so now I'm realizing that the island that I originally meant was Corsica. I'm kind of confused. Where's my map? Okay, so Sicily is the football that Italy kicks. And I see. I was reading the Italian Corse. Okay, Corsica. I was wrong. And Sardinia. So those two islands, which are one above the other, very, very a vertical set of structures, are basically kind of between Italy and France. Like if you know where the border of Italy is, it's actually just near that. Okay, so what's my point? I want to get back to my main point. And I'm looking down at Africa and Tunisia and Tunis. Now I have to go to my copy of Critias because honestly, to be honest, I wanted to read what he wrote. Now, of course, it's a translation. All right. So I'm looking at the Critias, and then also Timaeus is in there. Okay, now let's see. The combatants on the other side, which were commanded by the Island of Atlantis, which I was saying was an island greater in extent than Libya and Asia. Okay, so don't call it a diver island that's off the coast of Spain. Don't call it a diver island that's about the size of the plateaus that are underwater. It was greater in extent than Libya and Asia combined. Now here he writes sunk by an earthquake. But then he says, became an impassable barrier of mud to voyagers sailing from hence to any part of the ocean. So from hence means from there to any part of the ocean. Like, so you can't sail to the ocean anymore. They got blocked off. Now, where he's talking about, that's still unknown or unclear. I mean, we only have what he wrote. Now, he does say, I have given Hellenic names to the foreigners. Solon, who was intending to use this tale for his poem, found early Egyptians writing down, translated in their own language. So you have two languages of translation there. Did the Atlanteans speak Egyptian? Now their city was so great. Now his great-grandfather, Plato's great-grandfather, Dropides, had the original writing, but he still has it in his possession at this time. So he has the writing in his possession, and it was written by his great-grandfather, Dropides. No, I take that back. His great-grandfather passed him the original writing, and he still has it in his possession. So it's not like he's going from a telephone story. I mean, at which point Solon went to Egypt and got this information from the local priests. Now, the island of Atlantis, he says the island of Atlantis was the lot of Poseidon. Now, if you take a look at what I looked up on Poseidon, Poseidon did a whole buttload of different stuff, including like raping Medusa, and this is uncool stuff. I mean, there's a new story about Medusa coming out apparently. So this so-called god Poseidon, who is a third tier god, I don't know if that's wind or if that's something gnawing at the wood. Okay, look, let's just take a look at. There's a lot of things that I'm not going to go into here. I don't want to mess things up. But the main point here is that, and I haven't even gotten close. So this is the main point for all you folks that are coming and contacting me and telling me that America was Atlantis. It's like, oh, you just go beyond the Pillars of Hercules and there you are. No, there you aren't. Okay. Plato wrote that it was near Tunisia, that it was near Tyrrhenia, that they had power, and they were located just beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Okay, this is literally, let's just measure it. Okay, from Greece. Where's my, no. Where's my, okay, I guess on maps it's different, right? Let's go to Greece. I'm just going to click on the word Greece and measure distance from Greece to the Pillars of Hercules. Okay, now that is it's exactly 1,000 miles. It says here, okay, that's different. Oh, I see. Okay, so it's 1,529 miles away. Okay, so you're talking about Plato saying, these guys were beyond the Pillars of Hercules somewhere, but they also controlled an area between the Pillars of Hercules and basically Corsica. And I don't know, I have to recheck, but I guess Tyrrhenia was part of Italy too. So like there's Greece and there's Italy right next to Greece, and the Atlanteans had some control of that. I don't know if they're talking about the main boot-shaped peninsula or the islands, Sicily. That he never mentioned Sicily, but he does say going down to like Tunisia area that the Atlanteans had control. Okay, now they were boat people, but they seem to have control of these areas of land. And then I've got people saying, oh, and then you got to go up to Dodgerland. Okay, that's only another 1,000 miles north from Spain and the Pillars of Hercules. Or some people say, oh, you got to go over to these islands in the Aegean Sea between Greece and Turkey, and they are like, oh, that's where Atlantis was, and it's here. It's like, well, okay, but that doesn't, unless they were wrong about where the Pillars of Hercules were, then yeah, maybe that's possible. But then don't say as far east as Tyrrhenia. You better say far west as Tyrrhenia. He was definitely talking about the West in what he wrote, and Randall Carlson, I agree with him when he says focus on what Plato wrote, because this is one of the only real introductions we have to Atlantis is this, what Plato wrote. And then we've got other stuff about Atlantis, but Plato was the first. And the point I'm trying to make is it's possible that it was in Mauritania, just south of Morocco, along the coast of Africa, past the Pillars of Hercules. But what I've got people contacting me and saying, oh, it's Cuba. Oh, it was the Peru. It was South America. They were crossing the entire Atlantic Ocean. Now let's measure that, and find out how much farther that is. I guess I got to start at Greece. Clear measurement. Go to Greece. Click. Go to Greece. Measure distance. And I'm just going to go straight over to Cuba. It's 5,800 miles. And America, which I think the closest point you can, and I'm going straight through France here. I'm not going through the Pillars of Hercules, so I'm measuring as the crow flies. If you go straight over to the nearest area, like I forgot the name of this island, but it belongs to, I think, France, just off of Newfoundland. Oh wait, if I hover, it'll tell me. It's 3,700 miles. Okay, let me try. Oh, see, I can drag that. So I can just drag it over. I don't think it's going to bend, though. Okay, there we go. I can bend it now. All right, there. So I can go through the Pillars of Hercules. Now, what's this place called? See, it doesn't even list it. Newfoundland, no problem. But this little island here, what is this called? Saint-Pierre and Miquelon, which it belongs to France, I guess. And I don't know why. It's the Gulf of St. Lawrence. I don't know why that it's, I'm just pointing there because it's the nearest landmass. I knew it wasn't part of Canada. Oh, but maybe most of that island is, if you go to New York, it's like 5,300 miles away. And you're going to tell me, oh, Plato described it so clearly. Even in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, it's 3,500 miles. It's an additional 2,000 miles. So don't tell me, oh, Plato made it so clear, beyond the Pillars of Hercules. America, no. It's too far away. So don't tell me, especially when he's talking about islands versus sea, and Poseidon being the god of the sea. Okay, I can understand that. I do have questions about that. All right, that's it. Let's see if anybody said anything. Atlantis was Mauritania. Thank you, Ko. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, I know I haven't shown myself. I usually wear a hat. I shaved all my hair off, and now it looks like I'm bald or balding. I guess I am, technically. Okay, the final point. The final point has nothing to do with Atlantis or Mauritania. It has to do with the Sphinx. Okay. So I'm just going to say hello again to Ko, Kheo, Ko. Thank you for your support. And I do want to make a quick announcement. And this is, nobody's going to hear this because nobody's going to watch this video, but I do have a main goal. I know it looks like I'm poor. I've gotten comments on my videos saying I'm poor. I am living in a portable building, but I'm definitely not suffering. I did lose a lot of weight and I've been working, but I only have one thing on my bucket list right now, and that is to go to Mauritania or the Eye of Africa and start developing this other channel that I've been doing. So I'm letting you know now, I don't have the money to go, but I'm waiting on the money to go. So we have to see the money first arrive, and then I'm going to go. It's really the only thing on my mind. It's the only thing on my bucket list. I'm trying to find how to stare at you. I guess the camera's right there. So I look there. And I thought about fixing this place up. I did a little painting. Most of you remember my brother passed away, and he was my little brother. And so I came back to California from Taiwan, and here I am. And I'm just kind of like in a zombie mode, really. I'm doing a lot of cleanup. I wasn't really helping my mom for the last 10 years, and I just discovered some new information. Actually, right when my brother passed away, I was kind of already on my way back to try to take care of some business. But I did build by the way, it says my last name or my middle name, Stig, on the wall behind me. Stig! I got other stuff going on. I've been pickling. I got a lot of junk down there. I've been pickling, so I got a bunch of pickles. I don't know if you remember I was pickling. Okay, didn't want to make this a super long video, but it's already 25 minutes, so what the F, right? Okay, here we are. Now, as far as my final point, it would be even older. I think that the Sphinx is older than the pyramids. I think that we've got the Great Pyramid and the Khafre Pyramid. So the Pyramid of Khufu and the Khafre Pyramid. I've been watching a lot of videos, including one from Jimmy that he put out that was pretty interesting. And have to say that they're definitely old, and I still have a lot of new questions now from what I just recently watched. But my main third point is about the Sphinx. I'm still thinking it's kind of old. I think that it's much older than the pyramids. You can tell by the way it's got the erosions. Thank you for joining, and please chat soon because I'm about to end this. Good thumbs up would make me know if you're friend or foe. So the main point here is that many people wonder if the Sphinx was a cat, Leo, or a dog, Anubis, basically. And I think that first of all, we have to remember that it's possible that if you use the sorry, I'm doing this all off the cuff. I have nothing. If you go back, first of all, where is the Sphinx? The Sphinx is if you stand behind it and look straight down its back. Okay, on the 21st on March, you have the equinox. Okay, so it's an equinox. It's an equinox. It idolizes the equinox, right? So the Sphinx is for astronomy purposes marking time and marking the spring equinox. And if you think about other factors related to astrology and the space, is that equinox occurs from the sun rising at an equal place in time. Okay, now the sun is following its the ecliptic, basically, right? I got to double check that. No, it doesn't follow the ecliptic. The sun. Okay, never mind that. I'm not going to make a point about that. But thank you for that third thumbs up. Wow, cool. The main point is that the Sphinx could not have been Anubis. The Sphinx could not have been a dog. Okay, why? Because Leo is on the ecliptic, and that's my main point. Leo is on the ecliptic. We're following these 12 astrological ages for many, many years. There's some theory that the Sphinx was carved. Now, it was reheaded by the Egyptians. That's clear. You can tell by the headdress on that. But if you look closely at the 1800 photos on the Sphinx, you'll see that the headdress is like a gray cement, where the stone, is it limestone? What is the Sphinx made of? It's made of limestone, right? It's pink. It's flesh. I don't want to say flesh colored. It's beige. Okay, I'm not beige. Okay, so I shouldn't say flesh colored. Do you remember the crayon that was flesh colored? That didn't go over well. So yeah, that's long gone. And I don't mean to say flesh, but beige is really the color I'm thinking of more than the pink that you see in the color of my flesh. Now, the Sphinx was recarved. They say recarved. I don't like that term because to me, I think they put concrete on it, and they own it. They put the concrete and they reshaped it. But what was it previously? What fell off? Well, I think that maybe a decayed face fell off of it, a face of an animal. And if you look at the shape of the Anubis that they always use, that nose is way out there. A lion is very flat faced, so that's one part of the argument. But it's believed that if you go back to when the erosion started, it's probably sometime after the Great Cataclysm from the Younger Dryas event. But if you think about it actually possibly being older than that, maybe actually getting damaged by CME or some other cataclysmic event, then you would have to go back a lot farther. Now, I did chart this out. You can go to my let me see if I can find it real quick so I can just read it to you. It was actually an Excel file, a spreadsheet. Let me just go through the spreadsheets because I don't make very many of those. Let's see if we can find it quickly this way. Full precession of the equinox corrected. I do have a corrected version. I don't know. I don't think we need to care about that too much, but it says here that we're in Pisces now. The total years of Pisces is 2,952. That total degrees is 41. Before that is Aries. Now, if you want to know what the starting point of Pisces is, it's the birth of Christ. So now Aries age is only 1,000 years because it's only 15 degrees. Pisces age was 41 degrees. So if you add 41 times 72 years, 41 degrees, but 72 years, you get, you get 2952. Okay, so let's go back to the year 0. That's when the age of Aries was over. And before the age of Aries, which is only 1,000 years, was the age of Taurus. Taurus was actually pretty dang long. Wait, no, Pisces is longer. Taurus was only 3888. According to this, I'm giving you the date, 3888 BC. So, okay, I made a mistake. I was not reading the total years. I know, that's the wind. It's windy out here. 2,800 years. The age of Taurus is 2,800 years because it's 39 degrees. And adding the 1,000 years from Aries from the year 2000. So we're in the year 2021. Go back 2,000 years. That's when Pisces began. Then you go back another 1,000. So at this point, we're 4,000 years ago. Oh, well, okay. You know what? Now I realize what's wrong with that. That's not years ago. What is this? I just am checking the formula real quick. The number of years, and where's that? 14. Oh, the previous year. They're adding it. That's just getting added. That shouldn't be added. All right, so there's a little mistake in my numbers. I better be careful. But yeah, basically because Pisces is let's start with Aries, okay? Let's start with Aries because we'll go pure BC. We won't go any AD. Aries is 1,000 years. Taurus is 2,800. So now we're at almost 4. Gemini was right before Taurus. The age of Gemini was 1,600 total years, 1,656. So plus modern, okay. I don't want to talk about that. We've got I'm sorry I can't share this with you. I don't have, I got to do OBS. I got to add OBS onto this so I can share my desktop. We'll see. Because I might want to redo this. I'm trying to get these major points. Point number 1, Plato's Atlantis is not the USA. Point number 2, due to the translation of the Greek gods in the primordial set, island/sea probably refers to just continent/sea. Don't try to say that Atlantis was a diver island. Plato said it was as big as Libya and Asia combined. And by that time, the very obtuse idea of what Libya was and Asia was. Libya was the island that includes Libya. I mean, if you look at the chart. Okay, and then the last thing was that the chart I'm talking about I've been releasing recently. And the last thing is that the Sphinx couldn't have previously been Anubis. The Sphinx was probably Leo. And the reason why is because Leo, okay, I'm looking now, I'm seeing some problem with the numbers. I might want to go back to my original. Let me do it without the correction. It's the same, so it doesn't matter. I think I see a mistake, but I know these numbers are right. Aries, 1,000 years. Taurus, almost 3,000 years. Gemini, 1.6. So if we can kind of add that extra in, we'll just round it down to 1,500. So 1, 2, 3, 4 plus half is 4,500 years ago. Then Cancer. Now, Cancer was only 10 degrees. It still is only 10 degrees. So the total years for Cancer is 72 years times each degree. That's 720. That's actually the shortest age. You have to realize that. You can't just divide your ages up by whatever a full 2590, 2005, sorry, 2500, 920 years is what 72 times 360 degrees equals. But you can't just divide that number by 12 to get your each age, because Cancer is 720 years long. It's only 10 degrees of that 360 degrees total. However, you've got these other, like Pisces is almost 3,000. You've also got Virgo, but the next one after Cancer is Leo. Now, Leo, see, it started in 9,000 BC. Okay, so isn't that more clear? If the survivors of Atlantis taught the Egyptians about all this knowledge, don't you think that that's the perfect time, 9,000 BC? There's no dog on the ecliptic. These ages are ancient. Some people say even, the geologists that worked with Robert Shaw, I forgot his name right now, but I know who I'm talking about. He, I think, unofficially even hypothesized that it could be more than the Great Year, more than 25,000, not the Leo from just 10,000 years ago, or 11 if you include modern 2,000 years. So 9,000 BC plus 2,000 years is 11,000 years ago. But if you go another Great Year, then that's 38,000 years ago. Do you think that the Sphinx, at least the body that we see eroding, is 38,700 years old? Or do you think it could be 11,000 years old? Personally, I don't know. I think that 40,000 is pretty old. I'm rounding it up. And also, those numbers could be wrong. So let's just go 9,000 BC plus 25,920. So 9,000, let's just say 26. 26 plus 9 is 35. Plus 2, 37. So that number that I said earlier, 40,000, I think it's about 3,000 off. I was rounding up. Now I'm going to round down to 37. 37,000 years old. Now, I don't know if we were, as a race, doing the whole alignment with the equinox 36,000 years ago. Ancient Aliens Theory says maybe. Maybe. All right, those are the 3 points. I didn't get any more comments. Thank you for yours, KO. And I'm going to, look, I just got another viewer. So that took me actually almost 15 minutes to make that 3rd point. So if you just got here, the points I made were Plato's Atlantis couldn't have been the United States, because he's talking about like around Italy. He's like, they were from they were from beyond the Pillars of Hercules, but they also kind of controlled these parts of Corsica and Italy and Tunisia. And by the way, I can get the exact thing he said. I didn't read that, did I? There's so many things I want to mention about that, but I just want to see if I can find that exact thing. I'm looking at it now. And I must be at the beginning part. I think it's in the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. Yeah, here it is. Okay. I was reading the thing that said all these and their descendants, because he's talking about Poseidon and Atlas and Atlas's twin brother Gadeirus, and and that's another thing I forgot to mention that, because it says to his twin brother who was born after him. That's why Atlas is older, and obtained as his lot the extremity of the island towards the Pillars of Hercules, facing the country which is now called the region of Gades in that part of the world. Now, it's been assumed that that region of Gades is Cadiz, Spain, which is near the Pillars of Hercules, right? So, I mean, we pretty much have that knowledge, although I have to be honest, I was reading the story about Hercules, and I'm still not sure why they gave him the pillars. but the region of Gades is part of Spain. So Plato's sitting here saying, yeah, you got this region of Gades in Spain, and then as far east as Tyrrhenia, which is Italy, Corsica, Sardinia, and even that coast area, I guess he mentions, let's read it right here. He says, within the pillars, as far east as Egypt and Tyrrhenia. Okay, so as far east as Egypt. Now, does that mean Cairo? I doubt it. But I mean, apparently they were kind of like near Egypt. The Atlanteans, and remember, 11,000 years ago was when the Atlanteans died and were finished. And maybe the survivors passed on knowledge, but the Atlanteans had to have existed for at least 40,000 years before that, maybe 10,000 years, for them to have created the concentric circles that Plato described. But what I'm trying to say here is, okay, we have Spain is mentioned by Plato. We have Egypt is mentioned by Plato, and Tyrrhenia. Now, as far, and he says within the pillars, okay, I'll read the whole thing. All these and their descendants for many generations were the inhabitants and rulers of diver islands in the open sea. Okay, now that's another mention. Diver islands in the open sea. And also, as has been already said, they held their sway in our direction over the country within the pillars as far as Egypt and Tyrrhenia. Now, Tyrrhenia was on the north side, part of, it's all part of the Mediterranean Sea, right? So for everybody says, oh, it was America. No, not Plato's Atlantis was not. Now, if you're going to go find concentric circles in other parts of the world, including North America or South America, I'm not saying that that's not possible. Doggerland. Okay, I always want to say Dodgerland, but I think Doggerland is the correct way to say it. There's supposed to be some type of concentric circles there. We have mounds in many places. Okay, we've got mounds created in Egypt. The pyramids are mounds, and the ziggurats in ancient Sumeria and those Mesopotamian areas are also mounds. And it seems to me like the pyramids are not as superior. I mean, certain aspects are very superior, like the internal granite. But when you look at the external granite of the main pyramid, it's chaos. It's inferior looking. And I just saw a new video on that, and it supports it. Now, that makes me wonder if the Khafre pyramid is much older because of the fact that there's still a lot of the casing stones left on there. It means that there was a more superior construction, and they're still on there. They didn't fall off. Now, the Great Pyramid's missing all of it, but who's to say it was ever on it to begin with? We really we hear that it all fell off in the 1300s. So, not sure. I'd like more information on that. But what I'm reading here is that Plato claims that the inhabitants and rulers of not just the country that's already been talked about, which is not the diver islands in the open sea. So I'm assuming that Chris Tolworthy's initial slide showing that line going through the Pillars of Hercules, following Africa down to where the ancient and the river that is actually bigger than the Nile was located, separated maybe so-called Libya from Atlanta. And you can see that in my previous videos. So that's that. Atlantis is in the USA. And Island C is something that we've seen let me go back to the Greek gods presentation, as early as the primordial god set, the Nisoi, islands and sea. They don't say continents and seas. The idea that it was an island bigger than Libya and Asia combined, that statement pretty much says it wasn't some random cluster of islands out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, but more reasonably following the ancient Taman River up into the continent, where the concentric circles do still exist in the Eye of Africa. And when you look at that Eye of Africa, that's another thing. It's not a dome geology at all. This Eye of Africa is clearly an indentation of about 1,000 feet, and it's almost a perfect circle that went straight down. How does that happen? You have it bubbling up first, and then it falls down. Bubbling up, then it falls down. And you can see the rings, and they do exist. Rings do exist in the middle. But dome geology usually is that ring set. And you've got the Eye of Africa, which is like even bigger outside. And last but not least, which might even be more important, is that the Sphinx was probably not a dog. And the main reason I say is because it was on the ecliptic. I assume that it was based on an astrological symbol from the ecliptic, which is more likely Leo, a very prominent. And when you look at Leo's constellation, now I have to be honest, when I look into the sky tonight, I don't see Leo. But I think that certain things like Orion, and I'm not going to lie, the dog star, or Canis Major, the dog, that constellation is a very prominent constellation. So I could be wrong about that. There could have been a dog constellation that was prominent enough. I mean, people have the Orion correlation with the pyramids, and it's right next to the pyramids. So if you think about a dog being next to the pyramids, that's an argument against what I'm saying right now. Oh, hi, Metro user, thank you. What about the Sphinx in Tennessee? I don't know about it. I don't believe America is Atlantis. Well, okay, now I want to say thank you for your comments, gentlemen, and a 4th thumbs up. This is kind of fun, right? Having a notebook computer that just does it all. I don't have to worry about but I don't have my second screen. So if you know my old videos, I was just getting comfortable with 2 screens and keeping everything. But this is just a live webcam stream. It's not using OBS. Yes, I don't know about the Sphinx in Tennessee. And I do believe that America, the ancient Americas, the Americas that Graham Hancock's writing about, had a connection to the ancient civilizations that were connected to Atlantis. But I don't believe that what you find in Peru is younger than Atlantis. It's the same ages. I know that they've dated it, but I don't really agree with mainstream numbers. Let's take a look at the Sphinx in Tennessee, because I've never heard of this before. So this is what do they call that? A unboxing video. The Sphinx of the Tennessee is a stone sphinx. The carving was believed to take place between, it's 1700 and 1400 BC. Huh? No. Why does it say which was during the 18th dynasty? I guess that's talking about the Egyptians' 18th dynasty. I was thinking 18th century. It is unknown which pharaoh is being honored, and there are no inscriptions to supply. Okay, well, in regards to this, I can say one thing. I'm going to go and look at this picture. Whether or not it was placed there, I mean, you know that Hearst. This looks pretty. I mean, like it could have been moved. I mean, the Great Sphinx in Egypt is too big to move, right? I guess you could technically piece it out and move it, but this Sphinx, if I'm not mistaken, looks like it's about maybe 5 foot wide, 4 foot wide, by a depth of I guess I can probably look it up. Anyways, whether or not it was carved in the U.S. or abroad, I mean, it said BC years, 18th dynasty, but that doesn't mean they couldn't have been brought here. However, another thing that you have to remember about my feelings on the Sphinx, and one of the oldest pictures of the Sphinx that you find was clearly carved from a sculpture of a lion. So if they're changing lions into sphinxes, in Egypt, they've got this lion, they changed it into a sphinx about 3,000 years ago. Battery's running low, so this video is going to have to end soon. Or maybe I can plug in. I do have a place to plug in. Let me plug in. It's the right thing to do. Then if they're carving lions into sphinxes, then I think that's signs of a trend as opposed to the original story behind the sphinx. So as far as I feel about sphinxes, I think that the sphinx is something that was created by the Egyptians, and they created it from a previous line sculpture. So if you show me a sphinx, I'm going to say this is, yeah, I believe it's 18th dynasty Egypt, because it's probably, I mean, I don't know. I have to look at the timeline again. And my timeline came from Ben at Uncharted X. I thought his timeline was pretty good. Okay, I plugged this in. I got 4 thumbs up and 3 viewers right now. Last chance for some comments. I had 3 points I wanted to make. I've made my points. I think I need to shave this. I'm trying to look at, I've been kind of rugged. I had a barbecue yesterday. So here I am in the desert near Palm Springs. I don't want to start picking up the notebook and showing you around, but I'm looking at desert mountains. I can see over a mile. It's totally different from the city in Taiwan. So do I miss Taiwan? Hell yeah. I really had a lot of more of a different lifestyle in Taiwan. COVID was pressing me down in Taiwan, and it created kind of a situation where I was losing weight, not eating full meals every day. And I stayed on there. So I swear to God, I got on the scale. It said 186. I think that scale might be broken. But I'm here to answer any question at this point because you've been here for 6 hours. I wish I could share the desktop. I'm going to upload the OBS. So the next time I try this, I'll have the desktop shared. Hi, thanks, Keo, for sticking through the whole hour, right? It's already 51 minutes. One has to study the pyramids up the Nile that predate Egypt. Right. And here's the thing that I'd like to mention. So the Great Pyramid is located on the number, which represents, and I'll just go there because you know what? The best place to look this up is on Snopes. Snopes is the the speed of light. And that Snopes article, let's see if it still works too. Is the Great Pyramid of Giza's location related to X? I know the speed of light. Okay, well, let's assume you're wrong. Let's assume that the survivors of Atlantis knew the speed of light. Well, that's one of the best things about the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now let's see the number, and I want to read it. A popular bit of too crazy to be a coincidence trivia suggests that the location of the Great Pyramid of Giza is in some way cosmically aligned with the universe. Or perhaps that the Egyptians themselves aligned their pyramids with the universe. Okay, why? Because they happen to know the speed of light? Because its latitude in decimal degrees is 29.9792458 north of the equator. Now, those are degrees north. Okay, so that's not, okay. So that's not, I was kind of mistaken about that. They're decimal degrees, not meters. I thought it was a meter reading, sorry, of the meter, of the kilometer. And I guess it's decimal degrees. Okay, it's latitude in decimal degrees. Yeah, okay. Interesting. So that it ignores the meter. Yeah. And the speed of light in a vacuum as expressed in the contemporary metric system. See, that's where I got confused because I thought it was a metric system. So the contemporary metric system, yeah, it is the speed of light is meters per second. So meters per second. So that would imply that whoever built the pyramid understood meters. So anyways, but the distance from the latitude to this point is this decimal degrees north. Okay, so, and it says here speed of light equals that number meters per second, 299,792,458. And the Great Pyramid of Giza is 29.9792458 degrees north. Coincidence? Well, here you go. And then when you click on that number from the Snopes website, it takes you over. Now, the last time I did this, it didn't go right in the middle of the pyramid. But now, by the way, it's not going to do it again. First, we got to get to the pyramid, and it was a little off. But I have to be honest right now. If I go straight in, I click the zoom button to go straight in. Okay, now I'm going to navigate over. It doesn't put you over. It's pretty much right in the middle still. Now it's showing it. It's showing it right in the middle. I wish I could show you this. I've already done it. So it's showing it like literally, like the point is okay. So if I take it and I put it up near the top to show the point, okay, this shows it at the bottom of the square that's created. Now, the first time I did this, it was a totally different point. The next time I checked it, it was actually right in the middle. Now, the east degrees is in 31%, and that is called the Nilotic Meridian, because if you think about it and you back away, you can see that the Nile is pretty much the same spot. I mean, so it's a Nilotic Meridian, which I believe was the original meridian. Of course, now it's in London. Now it's in England. I can't remember where. I forgot. But if you think about the Nilotic Meridian, then you have to consider the Nile. And why is it the Nilotic Meridian? Because who said Antarctica? No,